Is China setting itself up for an investment bust? And so what I'd like to do now is run through each of the five lenses I've presented to you, and let's look at some data points that I'm going to give you. And again, this is a mystery. This is one scenario I'm going to put out there. You need to put your probability on the scenario. But nonetheless, I'll discuss this scenario, and then I'll look through the ramifications of the scenario, and then we'll try to tie it all together. All right. So microeconomics. I do apologize. I know all of you, probably no one can see these numbers, so I'll describe them. Again, I think that you're going to get hard copy printouts at the end, so you'll have access to this stuff. And by the way, any of you can feel free to email me for data. I'm happy to share whatever I'm allowed to, etc. But on the left-hand side here is a chart of residential mortgages and loans to developers, effectively a measure of borrowed money flowing into the real estate sector. Right? And so that's risen by roughly 6x over the 2000 to 2010 decade. On the right-hand side is a chart of house prices on a price-to-income ratio basis in China. We've had rising incomes, so this chart actually doesn't show the full impact. It was the only chart I was given permission to reproduce from this National Bureau of Economic Research report, but nonetheless, it shows housing prices are high and rising in most of the major cities, and just to give you some calibration, it shows here that most of the prices are what, sort of high single digits through mid-20s, if you will, on a price-to-income ratio. That compares to the U.S. markets, which peaked at around 6, 6.5, and are currently around 3.5. So just to give you some calibration. Now, why do I think of this as a disturbing dynamic? Because this, to me, is a textbook reflexive dynamic of heading away from an equilibrium. Why? Well, generally what we have here is a banker lending money to a potential buyer. That potential buyer enters the market as an incremental source of demand. That incremental source of demand causes prices to rise. Those prices rising leads to the banker patting himself on the shoulder, says, look at how smart I was. Look at how safe I am. My collateral value just went up, and I made a lot of money. I'm going to do it again. So he does it again, creating another source of demand, making prices rise, making him think he's safe and smart, so he does it again. And we've got this dynamic where the bankers are failing to realize that it's the flowing of credit into the sector that's resulting in the price action and the moving in of more buyers. Right? So we could argue for a minute that's a reflexive dynamic. All right, lens 2. Are we seeing any signs of misallocated capital? Are we seeing any signs of overcapacity? And so on the left-hand side here, we've got a picture of the South China Mall. Now, the South China Mall was built to accommodate 1,500 tenants. It's built in Dongguan, China, between Guangzhou and Hong Kong, in what used to be effectively swampland. As of last year, it had 15 tenants. Built for 1,500 tenants. 99% vacancy rate. Okay? As disturbing as that is, more disturbing is the solution to this problem. So the CEO of the mall was interviewed on Bloomberg TV. There's a YouTube version of this. I'd encourage you to find it. This is a mystery. Connect the dots. He was asked in an interview format, okay, you got a big problem. What are you going to do about this? And his solution, really, I can't make this up, was he said, we understand there's a problem, and so we're going to expand to get critical mass. They are building out 200,000 square meters, which for those of us in the Western world is almost 2 million square feet, to get critical mass. If I was writing an illustrated dictionary of boom-bust concepts, I would have that picture under the term easy money. Because I think that's what it is. Someone's financed that. There's been money flowing in there somehow, right? Doesn't seem rational to us.